Yes, I turned my TV on and I watched it too yesterday. First thing I said, soon as I turned the TV on, I was like, well, Trump's supposed to be turning himself in today. What's going on? And then as soon as I turned it on, first thing they said, like, we're waiting to see what happens. Trump gonna turn himself in today. This was in the afternoon. It was around 12:30, 1 o'clock. So I was watching it thinking to myself, like, this is definitely news. Looking at it, thinking to myself how different of a case this was. That a sister from Fulton County, you have a declarated attorney general, Miss Willis, and she put her job and did what she was supposed to do with her job. She saw a crime and she charged the crime. And it wasn't just one person, it was a group of people conspiring as a group. So she said, all right, hit them with a RICO. Now, her doing RICOs ain't nothing new. We done seen her do it to others, brothers, and we didn't think that it was right or wrong. We ain't know. We was like, all right, we're going to see how it goes. So I gave that the same energy. I said, all right, I don't know. I heard the call, though. I know I heard the call. I heard the call. We asked for 11,780 votes. And I remember that number well. I remember 11,780 because I remember the first time I heard it. The first time they played it on TV right after the January 6th probe. And I never forget, I said, man, that burned my earlobe. So I said, I'm going to call up as many of my associates as possible. People that know me, people that say they support me. And I'm going to ask each one of them for 11,780 pennies. Just one more than what I actually need is what I would say to them. And it was funny because, like, people would try to ration it out. I remember one person like, what's that, $1,100? Like, nah, man, that's $117.80. And believe it or not, I called many, and I could not get them to give me 11,780 pennies. Not a penny, but I thought, hey, if I'm going to ask for something, I need 1,180 of pennies. And I couldn't get it. So I couldn't forget it because I thought to myself afterwards how dynamic of a guy President Trump must have felt himself to be. Not even was, but just what he thought he could do. Thought he could just call somebody up and get 11,780 votes. Like, I can't even get 11,780 pennies. So how you gonna go get that many votes from one call? Like, if you think about it, how much do it cost per vote? All these millions of dollars they be spending on campaigns, all these convincing they need to do to bring the constituency out just to vote. How much do it cost per vote? Would you say $1? So did he just ask that man for $11,780? I think a vote costs a whole lot more than $1. I think the process of getting that vote and securing that vote and making sure that vote is valid and making sure that vote is tallied and making sure that vote is certified and making sure that the state recognizes that vote as certified and making sure that there was no foolishness going on in the process. All that costs. Every one of those steps costs dollars and cents. More than that penny I was looking for. More than that, $117.80 that I would have got if any of my constituents or I say associates, not constituents. I don't have a constituency at this time. Unless you vote me in your hearts as the delegator of the words to express the stress that they try to force in your head. I'm going to help you get rid of that before you go to bed. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the warnings that we should be taking from this. That we should be somewhat shaken from this. Not upset and baking from this, but we should be making from this a new way of thought that we should not just resort to thinking that it's a laughing matter. It's a matter of fact that this is new history for this country, Jack. I seen a whole platoon carrying one man from Newark, New Jersey. Newark, New Jersey. I know Newark, New Jersey very well. I was born in Newark. St. James Hospital. Teterboro don't do what they used to do, so now private planes got to fly from Newark. You got a private plane. Newark Airport is the place for you if you a New York resident. You ain't no private planes flying out of JFK. Ain't no private planes flying out of LaGuardia. And the best access to New York City is Newark. I know. I go to New York City all the time. And I go there from Newark because you can get on the path or you can get on the New Jersey Transit train and be in Times Square in less than 35 minutes. Beautiful thing. So Trump plane was what they showed us at around 5 o'clock. I knew they weren't going to do nothing to the evening time because they ain't want it to be something that the children could see on TV at school and think the president getting indicted was cool. So they wanted to make sure that it was primetime TV. And we did see it. You know, everybody was off, everybody home. ABC, NBC. It was on every station. You know, locally. Atlanta, of course, they had it popping. Atlanta's local TV was rocking because they was in anticipation for this mugshot. Because that's all they got. I mean, he was in there long enough to get a mugshot and come right back out. He was back home in New York before midnight. This was the craziest thing I ever seen. You leaving Newark around 5, get to Atlanta around 7, 7:30, hitting the motorcade, 8 o'clock. He already out. He out of the jail. He done went to the jail. 8 o'clock, he right back in the motorcade already. 8:30, primetime TV, talking. He talking. This is a political witch hunt. This has never been done in America before, ever. They've never taken someone with the privilege I have and made them have to ride down the path to go to the Fulton County jail. Do you know what Fulton County? I had to ride through the hood, y'all. Y'all saw the hood taking pictures of me. I'm the president. You know, he had that in his mind. He wasn't hesitant to get up and complain and tell them, I'm about to get back in my private plane. You know, I know others that have gotten RICO charges looked at this and thought to themselves, how the hell he back home already? You know, people in New York, it was funny because they was looking at the shit on TV. They done seen replays go on. They watching the 11 o'clock news, talking about Trump in jail, talking shit at the bar. Ha, Trump in jail. Then he walk in the spot. They like, what? What in the hell? How'd you get out so fast? Man, that's how it go. That is how it go. And it's funny because I don't know if you know, but I actually am a tax-paying constituent in the county of Fulton. And I got this letter here addressed to me, official jury summons from the Jury Services Division of Fulton County Courts, 185 Central Avenue, Southwest Suite, J1, 7000 in Atlanta, Georgia, 303-3675. I said, oh, hell. I might have to tell my thoughts on listening to what they gonna say and then have to go and try to exempt myself from doing this type of duty. So the only way you can be exempt is you got to be 70 years or older or permanently, mentally, or physically disabled. I'm not either of those. So what will make me ineligible is if I was convicted of a felony whose rights have not been restored. I don't want to do that. I'm not a citizen of the United States of America. I'm more than a citizen. I'm indigenous to America. I ain't just build America. I founded America. I found America. Few thousand years ago, but that's a whole nother topic. And last is not a resident of Fulton County. Well, I can't lie with that one. I am a resident. So what can get me a deferral? Okay, a deferral. Full-time student. Damn, not at this time. Primary caregiver with custody of child 6 years of age or younger. Oh, that's me. I can get a deferral. I can get a deferral, y'all. I don't gotta be in there listening to y'all telling lies about your rights. Yes, that's their stance. Their stance is, I have the right to fight against the rules. I have a right to fight against the outcome. In any election, if I am on the losing side, I can rebut. And I said, well, that's true. But it was funny because when he gave you his explanation, he said, just like Hillary and just like Sarah Ingram's, I too have the right to go against an election outcome that I don't think is right. And I thought to myself right then and there, like, I ain't talking bad about Hillary or Ingram's, but at the end of the day, they both lost. They had great races. They stood in the faces of society and said, we can do it. But at the end, they didn't do enough to win. And he equated himself with them, meaning he even gave you examples of knowing that he lost. The boss with all the sauce lost. In his equation, in his metaphor, his better door to open up your mind to seeing his point of view. He pointed at you, Hillary. He pointed at you, sister from Georgia. He went at y'all. And that was how he thought he could save himself from the fall. He said, when they lost, they complained, so I complained too when I lost. That's what he said without saying it. If you replay it in your head and think about it in your mind and find a way away from just trying to be on one side or the other. Because I know since I'm speaking about this, many of y'all would declare me a never Trumper. But what you got to understand is I'm a man of many thoughts and many processes of what design the way in which I do what I do. So when I say this to you, I hope you hear me all the way out, because I ain't got no doubt about why I did what I did. when I slid into that voter box in 2016, when I slid in that voter box in 2020, in both occasions, both times, on my mind was, I'm going to vote for Donald. Because in 2016, he wasn't President Trump yet. He was Donald Trump then. And Donald Trump is the man's man. Everybody like Donald Trump. You lying. Hip-hop got more references to Donald Trump than they got Martin Luther King. They ain't even have a dream. They wanted to have the dollar. They wanted to have the private plane. They wanted to have the beauty pageant. They wanted to have the TV show and tell people you're fired. They wanted to have a son and daughter beside them where you ain't got to hide them or provide them because they already got their own way in which they can make it right beside you. He had Dynasty right on TV. You could see him building an empire. You ain't want him to retire. You wanted to be inspired by him. You wanted to try to do what he was doing. You was like, whatever he was doing, I'm with it, Jack. I'm with that. And if you saw Ivanka, you probably had words to say like Quincy Jones. You wanted to jump a bones. Cut the shit. You loved him. Everybody loved Donald. It wasn't till I'ma blame Barack. I got to blame Barack. Yes. You would never had Donald Trump the president if Barack hadn't thought it was going to be a good idea to use his platform to joke Donald at one of his functions at the White House. That's what happened. He thought he'd slap him with a joke, talk about how negative the world would be if you ever see Trump in the White House. President Trump. When he said that, Donald ain't say nothing. He ain't stand up and tell him, you're illegal, you ain't even born in America, like he wanted to say or like he had said. He kept quiet. But that is when the fire built. That is when he said, I don't give a damn what happens in my life. I am going to be the president, and that bill his wife came out with, I'm going to knock it down on her birthday. He won't drunk with power because he don't drink. Because he'd already seen his elder brother do that. And he said, I ain't taking it back to that. I'm going to be a little bit more arrogant and intact in my mind. And that's what people find appealing. Because he ain't shilling the fact of what he feeling. And if he don't feel it, he going to talk shit and try to kill it. That's how he do. That's how you want to be. So that's why you see him as somebody that you always sympathize with. And it ain't that you sympathize, it's you remember the times that you were inspired by something that he was involved in. So when you saw all the problems going on with the country, you thought that him being elected as a great businessman, you ain't know about the bankruptcies and the people not getting paid and stuff. You ain't even care about that. That didn't matter. All you wanted was the man to be your president. You wanted Trump in there. So you got it. You got it. And when he got in there, what he did, what he didn't do, what he should have done, could have done, would have done, did turn around and did turn around and forgot, I do not even want to have an opinion about. Because that has nothing to do with what the hell's going on now. What's going on now is the fact that he is being called to question, called to charges, because he would not allow the peaceful transfer of power, which is what our whole democracy is settled upon, that we are supposed to be able to vote as the people. See, we in a land where the people are in power. It's a triumph. People, then they go to the politician. Now, is that right? Is it right that the people should be in power? Is a democracy correct? All I can say is I respect that there was a time when the people were not the ones in power. The one that was in power was the Most High. And the Most High gave direction to the ruler, and then the ruler poured out everything that the Creator blessed him with to the people. That was how things have went for thousands of years correctly and grew civilizations all over the world, spinning and winning, because they had the right lineage. They started with the Most High. They went to the man who was the most capable, and that man got it to the people. But now it's the people, and then the politician, and then he's supposed to get it back to the people. It's a back and forth ping pong, instead of us being able to cling on what the Creator told us to do. So ain't nothing you do or see ever gonna be correct, because now we ain't got the respect or the reverence to the Creator. We looking for man to be our savior, and people ain't gonna let that man go because they think that man gonna be their savior. There ain't never been a falsehood more good or bad than that. And I like him, but I know he ain't no damn savior. Not with that behavior. No, ain't no way in the world. And Chris Christie, the only one up there standing like he's a man and not a little boy or a girl, depending on how the world wanted to pick people, you know. He the only one that's speaking directly like, yo, that behavior right there is not becoming, okay? And we can't be running from the truth. The truth is just proof that people just don't even like the effects of what's going to get them upgraded. They just hope that somebody else going to take and give them the happiness they supposed to have in life. You got to go get your own happiness. Well, I've gotten off subject a little bit, but I had to bring this into the equation because it's amazing to me to see how society has transformed, and that's just here in America. There's a worldview. The world looking at you. The world looking at how you can't even take care of things in your own backyard. The world looking at how you got more responsibility overseas dealing with national alliances international alliances, instead of taking care of the disasters you got going on right at home. You got homeless issues. You got wildfires going on in Hawaii. And you got people from Ukraine getting $2,200 every month. People who work their whole life in America. People who served in the armed forces, went to war, went to embassies all around the world so the world could continue getting more productive for all of humanity. They look at it and they see the vanity of you giving them that much, and then they get their check and they can only touch like $1,400. And we wonder what's going on. Something is leading us down the wrong way. And it ain't just the things that the president have to say. It ain't just that office. But that office has a great deal of giving people a finger they can point at and feel that they the ones responsible. Now, I don't know if they responsible for all of the world's downfall, but the reality is he definitely is responsible for the phone call, the request, the bequest for 11,780 votes. And he even let you know that that's just one more than what we had. And he asked for it. Now, was that his right as he claimed? Was it his right to be able to do that? Was he challenging it? Or was he trying to rig it? And it's funny, I can dig it because at his rallies, I never forget, they used to always be on some, lock him up, lock him up. And I promise you, it let me know that manifestation is real. Chanting and yum yum oh yeah oh, all that, boy, you better be careful of what you saying. Cause like the words say, it ain't what come out or what go in your mouth. It's what come out. You talking crazy, you thinking crazy, you doing crazy stuff, you allowing others, you pumping others up, you putting batteries on their back to attack. In my day, we would have punched that guy out. Get him out of here. You got that kind of energy. Then when the world see that energy come back to you, they ain't gonna be so bashful about getting a little bit of joy from it. I promise, the funniest thing I seen yesterday wasn't the plane flying to Georgia and all the brothers and sisters on the street of Atlanta watching the car brigade go into Fulton County jail. No. The funniest thing I seen was a 1 minute YouTube short where they had Hillary talking, and she had to declare that she thought that the whole ordeal wasn't fair to the country. And she got no pleasure at all from watching and witnessing the former President Trump have to turn himself in. And I thought to myself, unknown caller. The caller had to come in and get this for you. Hello?
Hello.
What you want?
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Jean, your senior citizen benefit.
I'm not even a senior citizen, Gene. Have a great day. Now, that's the foolishness of how they want your thoughts to go away. This society truly has interceptors. And they try to disrupt and corrupt anything that could be meaningful to the people. But due to the fact that I'm focused, you don't have to worry about those things happening when you tune in to Chief Yah Real. I will be as real as I possibly can with my talks in hopes to heal the people. Now, getting back to Hillary's reaction and speaking, saying that she was not happy about Trump being indicted. I couldn't fight it. My tongue, I wanted to bite it, and I said, man, Hillary got to cut the BS out right now. Like, come on, yo. Let's make sure we at least being real. Talk real and people can feel you more. You know what I'm saying? Be like, say it. Be like, look, He was talking all this lock me up shit. He should have been thinking about not getting locked up his damn self. Oh man, we'd have voted for you. It should have just said that one line. She'd have been president. You know what I'm saying? But she want to get on there and make it like she extra good. It's about the perspective. Everybody trying to give you a perception of them that puts them in the best light. You know, I'm not gonna always tell you I'm right. You know, I am wrong sometimes. Shit, I voted for Trump twice. You know, I don't know if I was wrong the first time. But the second time, I think I fueled the fire because by giving him my vote, he was close enough to think that it was a hoax, you know. I blame me. I don't even blame him. I blame myself for voting for him because by voting for him, he's like, I had millions of votes, you know. And now, if I really devote myself to being honest, why did I vote for Trump? Was it something against Joe? No, not at all. I just knew the one truth that y'all wouldn't really even be able to comprehend. My father was a Democratic campaign specialist all his life. He's a Democratic on their ticket for environmental commissioner in Essex County. Every election in Jersey, every Democratic governor he supported in Essex County when Joe D was running way back in the day. My father's buses was moving his people around, making sure that everybody around Essex County knew Joe D. And now today he happened to be the county executive. So he has participated in helping Democrats win for years. So it was such a unpleasant delight. Unpleasant delight. When I told him that I voted for Trump, he was like, what? You know. And he like to lost his mind. And I told him, I hope you can find my reasoning conclusive enough for you. So he was like, I got a head. What's up? And I told him, look, in my spirit, I see something that most people don't see or most people don't connect. And I respect that Trump's mistakes and errors will force him to have to do more for me than Joe being smart working to my good. And he's like, what you mean? And I said, I'm telling you what I'm saying, man. Trump's mistakes, Trump's errors will force him to have to fix it up to make more positive happen for me than Joe Biden will do by being his best self. And he just couldn't take that. He's like, you know. But let me give you some examples. Trump came in office, and when he came in office, 2018 is when this happened to me. I was a contractor doing energy audits, doing direct measure installs of LED lights. I put in so many LED lights that when I went to China in 2015, I had an LED light that I specified. I didn't get it to 16 or 17, 100 watt LED light. When I went to China, the only thing they had was 60 watt LED bulbs, and they was high as hell. So to be able to get, I was one of the people who helped facilitate there actually being 100 watt LED light bulb, because I needed that A19 light, what they call an A-line light, for my utility rebate program administration and direct measure installs project team. I needed it. I created a whole new division of I'ma Go Green called I'ma Glow Green, where the lights could be its own separate entity. That way, if that just blew up based off the fact that Bush had put a policy in saying the fact that all regular light bulbs had to be discontinued by 2018, 2019. So when I got the lights made, I was thinking about the laws. And I saw an opportunity. I was like, oh man, regular light bulb is going to be illegal. You ain't even going to be able to, if it ain't an energy efficient bulb, it's going to be illegal. You can't have the bulb. You want the bulb, you can't have the old 100-watt bulb that uses 100 watts of power. Now you have to use the new LED 100-watt bulb that only uses 15 watts. So I thought I was about to really elevate. I met people who used to work for Westinghouse, and they sold lights back in the day when Westinghouse had just put their factory in Jersey. My brother made millions selling lights for Westinghouse. He didn't even have his own light. So when he heard I had my own light, he was like, bro, you gonna be on site the flight. And then Trump get in office and he say, man, these damn lights make me look orange. We're not gonna make it illegal for the other lights just yet, you know. And man, all my investment that I made, I mean literally 2015 is when I went to China and started. I mean from 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 6-year span of me trying to become the LED light man. Trump was able to just knock down in one call, like, these lights make me look orange, one sentence. And my business aspirations was finished. And I was on my ass, looking for a way out. And then, way out the way, next thing I know, COVID came along and Trump blessed the SBA. My father always told me, make sure you keep your businesses. So even though the lights didn't work and I got all these lights in storage and at my mama's house and her storage being shed outside, and I got lights in my house everywhere stacked up because the system had changed based off of the new rules. And once he went about saying, hey, you can keep those old lights, it changed everything for what I had invested in. I mean, I moved to DC so I could be right there by the Department of Energy. I had a solar light, solar LED. So I thought without a doubt that he was a businessman. So I would be worthy of clout if I just did the business that would go about helping bring forth energy independence. And I had no idea that President Trump would make it where the EPA laws that they came about with to make sure that all incandescent light bulbs were illegal, and we had to use new CFL and LED technology only, energy efficient bulbs, would be a law knocked down. So I found myself really, as soon as I got to DC, struggling because of the decision that Trump made, and I thought it was an error. So later on, when COVID came about, and then he started throwing money out, that same loss was able to turn to a win. I was able to see new life begin again because my father told me, keep your companies active. And even though I wasn't getting a lot of correspondence or transactions, my businesses were at least up to date, and they were all registered with the city of South Boston, and they all had tax ID, EIN numbers, and every business also had a bank account. And that made it where the same guy who knocked me down with him saying that the new LEDs found him looking orange, he was the same guy who approved the SBA to say, give them a couple thousand and tell them to go away because we ain't giving them the 15. They promised you 10. In most cases, they only gave you 1 or 2 if they didn't look like they was light oranger than you. And if you was like me, they only gave you 1 to 3, you know. So I took the 3 businesses. 2 of them they gave me 1, and 1 of them they gave me 3. I said, oh man, I'm up again. I ain't have but 5, but that 5 brought me back to life. And that is how I say Trump's mistakes effectively gave forth more than Biden getting in office and we getting re-established again with the program of doing our energy audits and installing light bulbs. So now I got the light bulbs. I got the bulbs going in. I got people working for me going into houses. But now, in order to make deals and wheel and deal, the same program that existed and persisted to get these bills signed so he could get jabs going and everybody on, then one of the conditions was that they had to no longer have A line lights as part of the rebates going to the utility companies, customers. So my main source of business, LED lights.
Unknown caller.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, my name is Justin with US Network Solutions. How are you doing today?
You're a distraction. Have a blessed day. Now, the only source of income we had for the last 13 years as a participating contractor came from installing LED lights and doing assessments at home. And for the different bills to get passed for Biden to get the country back up going again, what had to be done is he had to sacrifice the rebates that the utility program was giving to the constituents. So July 1st of this year, 2023, has been the first time in over 10 years that I can't get paid to install LED lights in customers' homes. So that was an example right there of Joe doing what he thought was bright and right, but at the end, those who really need him, he don't figure out a way to feed them. Or the only thing holding me back right now is my debt to income value. And I ain't got but 2 debts. My car, which is almost paid for, and my student loan debt. And my student loan debt is so high that it make it where it's hard to buy anything without being penalized. And now, they told me, they sent me an email months ago when I asked for the forgiveness of part of my student loan. I asked asked for it and they sent and say, yes, we are going to take your student loan down and we're going to help you out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And what happened? Well, they gave it to me on an email, but then later on I get another email saying that the Supreme Court has just knocked that ruling down and I'm caught with the same bill and we ain't got no opportunities for you, but we got a timeline that you better start paying. And if you look at the date and time, I mean, shoot, that's less than 60 days away now. So that's the type stuff that I've had to deal with. Where what I told my father was 100% accurate. Like, Trump's mistakes helped me better than Biden's greatest accomplishments. And I only got one more of them that I can tell you about, because when Trump was doing the SBA program and they was giving out the PPP loans and all this stuff, yes, it was some fraud, but most of that fraud was overseas. Most of that fraud was going to countries that do the same fraud on everything. I ain't gonna name no names where it's like, you know, he's being one way or another, but they know who did the real fraud. And the saddest part is those who did the real fraud, since they ain't here, they can't be prosecuted. But anybody from the inner city that they found that went about taking advantage of that system, then they made sure that they were prosecuted and named in the paper. You heard about it. Local pastor gets Lamborghini with PPP money and all this old stuff. So when Joe got in and they were in control of the PPP funds and the SBA funds, then it became, instead of them doing the same payouts to help businesses, then it became a scrutiny. It became, well, why are you giving minority businesses loans first? Like with the restaurant SBA program. A group in Texas was so mad that they were trying to help the minorities first that they sued. Same group got over $600,000 loan from the SBA, but in turn blocked a great percentage of all the minorities that sent in an application. That one rebuttal, that one, we don't think this is right, this is not within our rights. Like I said, they got paid. They got the loan for $600,000 and continued their case, which made so many other minority business owners ineligible or had to be delayed to the point where their businesses became obsolete. When it came to me, a couple of the processes happened because they only gave me one, and two. So then later on, they said, okay, if we didn't give you the whole 10, now we have to give you that plus 5. So I was like, wow. I'm in Georgia. I just moved to Fulton. I had a lot of responsibilities at this house. The basement was totally gutted out, and there was mold problems going on, and I'm in a brand new area of Fulton where I have so many new commitments and things that I need to do to improve my home so I can be able to record and speak to you right from the comforts of my home while I'm able to watch my 2-year-old so I can defer this. I have a reason for deferral when it comes to this Fulton County case. So I was able to get a taste. I wasn't able to get any loans because when they told me I was scheduled for the loan, and I thought that was going to really get my business back on and going. And that's when Biden starts showing favor to his belief that he could be a savior to the world. And instead of the SBA giving out any more loan money soon as 2021 started, all those responsibilities got departed so they could be focused on Ukraine. So now we got people from there, refugees coming from there, coming here to America, getting that $2,200 I was talking about earlier per month, while people who've worked their whole life here, when they retire, get $1,400 a month max. So these are just facts, and I'm telling you why I voted for Trump and the outcomes of my reasoning. The outcomes of my reasoning are just wisdom that I had. Don't get upset that I have infinite signs of disrespect that I can connect directly to those powers that be. Can we redirect them? Can we start to respect them a little better? Whatever you think about what's going on, I'm telling you that is even more so strong in the world. Because the world has always looked to America as its leader. Even though sometimes she is the greatest leech and bleeder of people's economies, a lot of times she's also the feeder of people's economies. She's the queen bee. Even though the queen has exited and now we got Charles, and he told y'all a long time ago that he thought it was too many of y'all in the world, and we're going to go to some type of population stabilization, meaning he wants you gone. And just like they told him in the Caribbean they want him gone, well, now the world is moving on to a new way of thinking, a new way of dealing with problems. And I don't know if it's a new way, because it's the same thing that they did yesterday in the 19th century when the settlers in America declared that they had manifest dynasty and they could take eminent domain, and they could not create the word is cheap, but just do it. And that's a real realty term for the real property, not the real estate. You can have the real estate, you can have the land, but if you ain't got the real property with the rights, if you notice, they came back to the fight declaring their rights. They have the right to do what you thought was illegal. So this one for the people. Y'all in charge. The people, that's the democracy. I don't know if the folks who established it knew that they was going to be in hypocrisy with what the Creator wanted us to be. These is the tools to heal the tribes. We can end all of it. We can end all the negativity with a syndicate. Least we forget. We can get, if everyone and everybody won, instead of us always needing to be on this side or that side, somebody gotta lose. You always gotta choose. It's like eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch it by its toe, you know. You only want one to win all the time. When the best advice I heard, I looked at, and it came from a unfortunate, not even an unfortunate, but an unexpected source. I was looking at a documentary on Suge Knight, you know, he in jail, so this all go in hand with what's going on. So they asked him, if you could do one thing differently, what would it be, Suge? And he thought about it and he said, well, we did all this shit and we was fighting against each other as enemies. I wonder what would have happened if we was friends. Oh, shit. That, man. Because I thought about every beef I could think about. Every beef. And I thought about the two heads of the beef. And I thought about what would have happened if they had united. Instead of them fighting, that they started enlightening, bringing their camps together, bringing it to a point where they could get peace out, have some joy, show some love, be reasonable, be accepting of one another with willingness, defying the thoughts of neutrality. Defy neutrality. Because neutral mean you ain't picking no side. Neutral mean you just there to stay in the process. I think that was what was necessary for so many things. For us to stop fighting against one another, stop pointing the finger and being judgmental like we know everything. We don't know. The word, if you like the word, I like the word. I like Ecclesiastes. I like Ecclesiastes 9:11.
Dr. Shirley Coleman.
This the person who taught me about Ecclesiastes 9:11. Dr. Shirley Coleman, my mama. Hello, mama. Yes, I'm doing a recording. I just talked about you. It was funny. I talked about you, then you rang my line. So, I guess these last 2 minutes and 58 seconds or so, we shall conclude this recording together. And of course, I am talking about the fact that yesterday, Trump had to come to my county, because I am a Fulton County resident, and they had him and his boys charged with the RICO. And right in front of me, I have a official jury summons. Oh, you ain't know that, see? Yeah. Okay, I have official jury summons where I'm supposed to show up, but I see that I can't be exempt, and I'm not ineligible because I am eligible, but I do have reason for deference. I got that baby upstairs that's up under the age of 6 that I'm the primary caregiver for, and I can prove it because I'm doing this right now, and it's 10-something a.m. and I'm watching her, So, I do have that, but I have this. I gotta go there at 8/31/2023. I was like, man, out of all of them that they got, which case they want, it's one of them, So I thought that was kind of funny, So I was talking about that just now. But the funniest part to it all, to me, of course, I thought it was funny when Hillary was denying that she took any pleasure in it. I saw her online talking about how sad it was. I was like, Hillary, stop lying. Just go on and tell the people, you clapping your hands. You should have been out there doing the moonwalk. Then we might have voted for you because we know you got some honesty in you, But the person, it was 19 people that was indicted, right? All of the guys, Trump's old lawyers and stuff, was, of course, Caucasian. It was one guy that was a brother, and he was for a group called Blacks for Trump. Now, he was the only one that didn't have the resources necessary to go and negotiate his bond so he could get bailed out immediately like everybody else. He was the only one in the group that had to report and go to jail. So I just thought that was All we needed to hear, that was the story being told right there. If we ever wanted to see clear how things work here, that out of the entire RICO, it was 19 of them, and the only one of them that went to jail was the brother.